game that occurred last week between Borussia Dortmund and Hannover. Fortunately, I couldn't get it recorded sooner this week because, well, I was a little busy with school. But I'm here now, and I'm going to be talking about the 5-1 thrashing of Borussia Dortmund. Now, let's talk a bit about Hannover. So Hannover, before the game, they were around the relegation zone, maybe even out of it, I'm not sure, but they were in the bottom half of the table. And Dortmund were 6 points ahead of Bayern. So a win here would have gotten them 9 points ahead before Bayern won their game, obviously. So, let's talk a bit about the game. So, obviously the scoreline shows that, well, Dortmund dominated, as one would think. But if you really look in the statistics, and at the time that the goals were scored, they honestly only dominated for like a certain amount of time. Like, I think it was around 10 minutes that they actually dominated and scored many goals. But pretty much the rest of the game was pretty balanced between the both teams, and you could even say that Dortmund was playing against a 6th place team or a Europa League competing team. So it was not really that big of a thrashing or that big of a domination by Dortmund, but it was still a 5-1 win. Now small things that, well, not small things, but major things that I found from the game that I think need to be changed in the future is, for one, the striker situation needs to be solved. Now, the team that Dortmund were playing at this game was basically the same team as last week against Leipzig, except that Maximilian Philipp was replaced with Marco Reus. But Mario Götze was playing at striker last week as well as now, as the game that just occurred. And Götze is not a striker. It's clear to say, I think I'm not the only one who's seen it, but so many people probably have to agree with me on this, that Götze cannot play at striker. Now, there are two types of strikers all the time. There's the one striker who's big, physical, has the strength to cause mayhem in the opponent's defense. Examples, Lewandowski, Dzeko. They're not that quick, but they have the strength to, as I said, cause mayhem. Or there is that small, pretty weak, but very rapid and clinical striker who just gets behind the defense, makes good runs. Examples, Kun Aguero. Another example would be Raheem Sterling as a striker. However, Götze doesn't fit in any of those departments. He has none of both. And that is a big issue. If you have a striker who, since he's small, has struggles with strength against the defenders, and therefore he gets bullied a lot on the ball. Or two, since he seems very clunky on the ball, like he doesn't have the speed to get behind anyone. So he has none of the two main attributes of a striker. And that's a big issue, because if Dortmund want to be competing to win the Bundesliga ahead of Bayern, who for the last, 8 years have won the Bundesliga, they are going to need to make some changes. And that one of those changes is finding a striker who's good, like a replacement for Lewandowski, for Aubameyang. We still don't have a replacement for Aubameyang, and that's needed. Another thing that I found from the game is I need to praise Favre's decision, the coach's decision, to play Weigl in defense. Now, Weigl was, for those who don't know, came from the Bayern Munich second team, well, the 1860 München team, I think they're called. And he came to Dortmund as not a well-known player, and obviously Dortmund gave him so much game time. Tuchel, especially, gave him a lot of game time, and he became a very good central defensive midfielder that, as we would call in Peru, destructor, the destructor in midfield. And he was revolutionary for us. He's the young talent, the future star. But lately, the last year, he has been, in 2017, 2018, I feel like his experience needs some working on. Like, he makes a lot of dumb mistakes that can cause a lot of damage for where he plays. And that's one issue. However, now Favre has decided to play him at center back. And I think that's one of the best decisions he's ever made. Weigl, both games, he played last game as well against Leipzig, he played at center back. And he was incredible. He was that defender who just covers Diallo. Like, Diallo is the one who plays a little more forward. And because obviously he plays as a center back or left back, so he has the tendency to go up a bit. And Weigl just covers him perfectly behind. And I really think that Weigl playing at center back is the next big thing for Dortmund. Also, I have to praise another player that we have, and that's Sancho. If you watched the game, for those who did, Sancho had such good ball control. And his dribbling is amazing. His speed dribbling. Like half the time when he was dribbling, he just gets past players like Pulisic. Pulisic doesn't do that, you see. Which is one of the reasons why I wasn't too disappointed to see Pulisic go. So, Sancho, I just want to give him congratulations for his performances lately. He's so good on the ball and a necessary winger for Dortmund. Also, I have to say about Piszczek. Now, Piszczek is getting around his the older part of football players. He's already 34 years old, or 35, I believe. He's pretty old, and normally Dortmund, what they would be doing is investing in a young right back to replace him in the future. Before, I used to think that was Felix Paslak or Tolian who would have been that, but lately, almost all of the recent games, Favre has stuck to Piszczek, and I think that was a good idea. From what I've seen recently, Piszczek is so good at his age. It's pretty amazing how good he is for a 35-year-old. He seems like he's in his prime. He runs, he comes back, he defends. He still has the technique that you need in a right back, because people think that right backs and left backs are like the irrelevant positions where you could put anyone, the worst players. But to be honest, right back and left back has a huge job as defenders to push the game forward. And Piszczek is amazing at that. At his age, to be able to run up and down, have the stamina to continue like that, is pretty much astounding. And for that reason, I want to give him, I want to praise him for that. Then another thing, two more things I have to talk about. One is Hakimi. Now, Hakimi has been phenomenal so far. Phenomenal. That's the best word I could use so far. And I would say that he's probably the best left back we could have gotten. Apart from, obviously, the world-class players. But we always, obviously, buy young players. And Hakimi, I think, is the best decision he's done to move to Dortmund on loan. However, there's one thing that I do go against Favre not having done, is having done an option to buy on him. Because, think about it, I mean, he goes back to Real Madrid, and he's still going to have to battle for his place against Carvajal and Marcelo, who are two world-class fullbacks who I doubt will be replaced by him. And that's one thing that's I think Favre should have done, is put an option to buy. Because Hakimi would be phenomenal if he was able to stay. Even, I would pay, honestly, 40 million. Up to 40 or 50 million for Hakimi. That's how good he is. He obviously needs a little experience, but that'll come with his age. And I just hope that after his loan expires, that Favre is able, or whoever the coach will be, or the president, will be able to put in an offer for him. Now, another thing, the last thing I want to talk about, is Dortmund's finishing. For once in a long time, I am able to say that Dortmund is able to finish, is able to be clinical. Lately meaning like years ago, like 2-3 years ago in the past, they couldn't finish for anything. There's so many times where they just missed chances that you needed to put away in order to win a game. And for that reason, they could never go that far in the Champions League or in the Europa League, for that matter. And in this game, they proved that they are able to finish and be clinical. As I wanted to say, it was around the 60th minute or the 70th minute mark, I'd say, where in 7 minutes they had 3 shots and all 3 went in. 3 shots, 3 goals in 7 minutes. Now that just shows the clinical finishing that they have now. And for one, it's not the striker, it's the midfielders and the wingers who scored. I'm really impressed by how they're able to convert something that they weren't able to do years ago. And I'm just very happy with what Favre is doing so far with Dortmund. And although I just started really getting into... I've been watching all the games of Dortmund ever since the beginning of the season. But now is really where I'm trying to focus on the statistics, the different things that they have done that impresses me and that I really need, that I really see in Dortmund for the future. And I think Favre is a coach for the future. I don't think he needs any replacing. I really like his tactics and how he plays with Dortmund. Now, that is my review on the game against Hannover. Now, as you can see, there was nothing but praise on the team apart from Götze, the situation of Götze. I believe that everything in Dortmund is going Millhouse. Everything's working perfectly, in my opinion. Apart from the striker situation, I just want to say that Dortmund, in my opinion, is doing great. Thank you very much for listening to this match review, and I'll come back to you since the game now that Dortmund are playing against Frankfurt is starting in around 10 minutes. I'll come back to you with another match review on that game. Thank you.